Something else that's changed with you recently, which I've been very, very enjoying watching happen.
I'm wearing more clothes on my Instagram pictures.
That's been nice for me personally as well, yes.
Don't lie.
But your relationship with alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to me about your relationship with alcohol and how it's changed.
Yeah, so I pretty much barely drink anymore. I used to be, I guess that's because of the whole British culture. I used to drink numerous times per week, particularly when I was growing up, university, then even throughout my 20s. I was very much into my fitness, but at the same time, there was always at least one extremely heavy blowout at the weekend. And then it just carried on. Like even, I think when I was just before, 29, I did the first experiment where I went sober for 6 months. And that taught me a lot because I was put in situations where I would normally drink. And because I was doing this challenge, I wasn't allowed to drink. And I think that was the first time that I was in situations where usually I would be drunk and like in a relaxed state, whatever it might be. But this time, like I was sober. I was doing something which I would never do. And I actually realized it wasn't that hard to do. And I actually quite liked it. And I think life is just short. And I can't afford to have days wasting away feeling sorry for myself, being aggressively hungover, which at the age I'm at now, the hangovers are pretty aggressive. Yeah. But what I'll do now is I will still drink, but it usually tends to be when I have achieved something or I've got the job done and I can celebrate. It's like, okay, you've achieved this. Let's go out. Let's celebrate. Have a drink if you want to have a drink. Once that's over, then it's back to the grind again.
What else have you learned from your time going sober? Obviously, the reason for doing it is that you don't want to waste your days so much, but what else have you learned?
I actually really enjoy my reality being sober. I actually don't really like the feeling of being drunk anymore. I think now I'm at a point where I feel like I'm very much in control. I really like the person who I am now when I'm sober. I'm extremely a lot more confident now. I can have conversations with anyone. I can charm people. I can, have a laugh. I can have a dance. I can do whatever I need to do, but I can do it sober. And there's actually no real need for me to drink. And when I do drink, I realize actually I start to get a little bit sloppy with my words. I say things which I wouldn't normally say, might potentially regret. And then there's parts of the night or conversation which I won't remember. And then I wake up feeling like absolute trash. You spend a lot of money as well out here on alcohol, which is usually just not wise. So it's... when I compare the positives to the negatives, there's actually very few positives.
Yeah. So this, this was something...
I don't know... I'm thinking now, like, so why did I drink?
That's the question I had on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
Like, you've laid out this balance sheet of positives and negatives. Why did either of us? And this is both of our upbringings, right? Our formative years in Newcastle, and then both of us stuck about once we finished our degrees, going out, drinking trebs. You
could get absolutely annihilated for like £10.
Correct. Yeah. So again, for the people that don't know, when we were at uni, you could have got three treble vodka mixers for a £5, and you would usually get a free Jaeger bomb with each of them. So that's 9 shots of vodka plus 3 shots of Jaeger for a £5. And the way that it would work, because you couldn't carry all of them back, you would have to pour all of the Jaegers in together, drink one of the trebs, and then carry 2 back. So what I'm thinking is, why is it that we ever saw it as something that not only we would do, we would willingly do, we would repeatedly do 2 nights a week throughout all of uni? Why?
I think, from thinking back when I was at university, I actually don't, now that I recall, I don't know anybody that didn't drink. I feel like every single person drank.
Yep.
And if there was anyone that didn't drink, they were weird. You wouldn't hang out with them.
But they weren't a part of the social group. Yeah, they weren't a part of the social circle.
I definitely remember drinking a lot just to feel more comfortable, to reduce the anxiety.
Me too.
Yeah, because especially when you're having you're in a club, the music's really loud, there's lights everywhere, there's people everywhere talking. It's really overwhelming. So the alcohol would numb that, and then you would feel more comfortable.
Just to interject there, think about the modern world, this 2023 version of the world. Someone would say that if that was a challenge that you were coming up against, that's because you're like a blue pill beta simp guy who hasn't worked on his masculine essence and stuff. And I think that, just to bring it back to what we spoke about earlier on about like why young guys struggling specifically now, this expectation again that you should have your shit together. You go, really? I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I absolutely drank so I had confidence to speak to girls. I remember I used to have this, I had this like pink polo shirt and pair of jeans, and one night I pulled because and I was adamant that it was because of this particular outfit. And I'm like, oh, that's the one. And I was so drunk that I could barely remember what had happened during the night.
Yeah.
And you think, how that's compensating for the fact that it's just a really highly stimulating, pretty anxiety inducing environment.
Mm-hmm. I think it would probably make more sense just to not go out. But that was like the biggest part of university was going out, particularly in Newcastle.
Correct.
And that was like the reason why I chose Newcastle.
Also correct, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I guess at that age, you really don't have much responsibility. Like, I think back to university, I mean, you obviously needed to get the bare minimum done. You had to do a bit of studying. You didn't have a job. You just living off the student loan, just having
because you
a laugh with your mates. So if you did wake up hungover, then
so what?
Didn't really
spend the day watching the Rugby World Cup or whatever was going on, the Six Nations or some other thing, or movies in the common room, and then get back to it. Yeah, I So I get that, but I think the number of people that drink, the number of young people that are choosing to go low and no alcohol lifestyles, massively increasing.
Yeah,
I'd love to say that this is downstream from a trend that I kicked off, but I think it's bigger than that. And I can't work out what's going on there. I wonder whether...
I think it's just accepted now. I think it was really not acceptable back in the day.
Unacceptable to not drink.
Yeah.
Like, unacceptable.
Whereas now it's like, okay, yeah, fair enough. Maybe I think there's a lot more informative content out there which is showing just how bad alcohol is. Like Human's done his video about alcohol.
Yep.
Listen to that and you're like, wow.
Never want to drink again.
Wow.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, it's really, really
so
bad.
I think more people are waking up to the negative side effects of drinking alcohol. But there's still a lot of people drinking. I still have a lot of friends who are drinking.
Yeah.
But I just don't give a shit if I'm going to offend their feelings.
I wonder whether part of it comes to choosing the kind of events that you go to, and then secondly, that growing in confidence. Because you're right, if you're in a banging, loud student nightclub with 1,500 sweaty freshers and the Killer's Mr. Brightside playing at ear bleeding levels, which is like
beard spilt on your face.
Correct. That's not the place for you to. What advantage do you have in being able to have a better conversation? Mm-hmm. That you almost need to drink to be able to cope with the environment that you're in, to be able to make it good. And this is the thing that I've been saying for like 7 years. Like, if you need to drink in order to be able to enjoy a night out, you're choosing the wrong nights out. Mm-hmm. Like, what you're saying is that the experience that you're going on is so bad that you have to anesthetize yourself. You have to numb yourself to the experience. It's like saying, I'm going to go and do this push. I'm going to go stick needles through the skin on the back of my hand, but I'll take some painkillers so it doesn't hurt so much.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. As you grow up, you start to do different sorts of events. You'll go for dinner more. You'll go to quieter venues. You'll go to somewhere where there's live music, where you can have a conversation. And that sort of enjoyment is facilitated more by being sober. Mm-hmm. So I wonder whether it's a byproduct of the kind of events that young people typically attend. I wonder whether Darren, my business partner, who's still doing all the voodoo in the UK, I wonder whether he needs to, I don't know, do coffee and cocktail hour at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or something. I don't know.
I think that's as well, when you're in an environment where everybody else is drunk, like that's full on. When you're sober and you're just looking at people.
Yeah.
it's heavy. Like I feel like if I'm in an environment where everybody's drunk, I almost need to be drunk just to
deal with it,
tolerate it.
Correct. Yeah. What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full unedited episode, and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.